What is this ring you're wearing here? Looks like it's weighing your hand down.
Well, no, it's a magical ring.
It is?
I have little children rub it, make a wish, and it comes true.
Little children come near you?
Of course. Little children and
What kind
animals.
of a wish did that ring ever make come true?
Well, I would say a great many wishes, but we won't go into them.
Now, you call yourself a satanic priest.
Yes.
Is that the opposite of God?
No, because Satan is a god, too.
Mm-hmm. Well, what are you then, the dirty pope or what?
Oh, I guess you could call me that if you want to say the black pope or the dirty pope or the advocate of, for example, the kingdom of night or darkness. No one's ever come forth so far and spoken up for the devil. Everybody that's made rules and regulations concerning the devil or the devil's work, the devil's activities, have been people that have been very righteous people during crusades, people...
Well, I'm not too righteous, but on the other hand, I think you're a bit of a ding-a-ling. Let's face it. Either that, or you're selling some kind of a snake oil. You got very shifty little eyes, right? It's very close together, too. They tell a story about you.
Oh, well, yes, of course.
What is the story that you'd like to tell us?
The story is that I think that the devil has been the guy that's kept the church in business for many, many years. Without him and the concept of evil, where would the church be?
Well, I understand that, what are you doing?
I'm giving a blessing to the audience.
I don't think they appreciate it. They were throwing it back.
Well, they thought it was a curse. Would you like me to show them how the sign of the curse works?
Sign
of the curse? Completely different.
How does it go?
No, not at you people out there in the audience, but this is the difference.
Aim it toward Red China, would you?
This is the sign of the horns, a curse sign, the two fingers extended. This way, spread apart for sort of shotgun blast, you know.
I always
all over,
figured if I ever met the devil, he'd have dirty fingernails. Go on.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
Where?
Dirty fingernails.
Well, that's because I've been fooling around with your equipment.
Never mind. Don't blame it on the studio. Go on with it.
All right.
So that's the sign of the horn, and then what happens? Is that it?
Well, there are other ones, too.
Yeah, what are the other ones?
The other ones, one of them's the pox sign. That's 3 fingers extended.
A pox on you?
A pox on you. During the Middle Ages, this was...
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Right. I believe that hate is necessary in a controlled way just as much as love is necessary.
But could it really work?
Of course it works. It's been working in primitive societies for a long, long time.
Well, then how come you don't pick out the despots of the world and make dolls like that and stick pins in them so that the... Oh, you want them to win. You want the bad guys to win, right?
Well, I don't say they're necessarily the bad guys or the good guys. It's not up to me because the only people that I would cast a curse or a spell on would be people individually that would sort of get under my skin.
Why are you staring at me like that?
Because, after all, hate should be a personalized thing.
Do you hate a lot?
No, not really. I am a pretty flexible person.
The newspaper said you used to play a calliope in a circus.
I played a calliope. I was a wild animal trainer.
You live with a lion at home, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Now, is that just a publicity
story?
No,
he sleeps with me every night in the bedroom.
How much does he weigh?
500 pounds.
Has he been defanged and declawed?
No.
Have you?
He's got full power. No, not yet.
Are you at all afraid that someday, after you get through this big put-on, that, with your little red yo-yo and your big fat ring and your shiny bald head, that when they do pack you away...
Well, now, wait a minute.
If there's any justice, you've got to really get it.
Justice?
You've got to really get it, baby.
Isn't justice sort of a lie most of the time? Isn't the law just
maybe,
tricks, really?
But you see, we're dealing with men, and men make mistakes, but there's somebody made all of us.
Well, they made the laws, too.
Somebody made this world, and someday, if he could get his hands on a cat like you, you could be like horrible example number 1.
Do you believe in God? Do you believe in Jesus Christ?
No. Irrevocably not. I believe that the Godhead resides within oneself. I believe that man creates gods in accordance with his own needs. And if he doesn't, someone else will create them for him.
Who or what is Satan to you?
Satan is the essence of that which dwells within myself.
Would you explicitate this?
Satan is the pioneer, the inventor, Prometheus. Satan has always been the scapegoat, the other, as Thomas Saz, the psychiatrist, calls him. He has always been the opposition to what has been established at the time, the counterbalance that creates change, that creates evolution, that sets the climate socially for modification. Because without this so-called evil, there could be no change.
Mr. LaVey, many of your critics and opponents of Satanism say that you are a businessman and a humbug and you're doing all this just to make your money. You are a show businessman. Is that right?
Well, I believe it's a Barnum and Bailey world. It's as phony as it can be, as the popular song stated. And if I am a humbug and I am a phony, then everyone else is a phony too. And I feel that you have to be a certain bit of a showman in the world in order to get ahead, in order to attain your goals. You have to get people's attention. And in order to deny this aspect of recognition that each of us has, every animal, every living creature wishes recognition in some form or another. This is the whole concept of the mating process, is to be recognized. I think to deny this is to be hypocritical and to be dishonest in the worst way.
In other words, you agree that you misuse people for your own purposes?
Oh, if someone begs to be misused, then I'll be very glad to oblige.
How do you tell people that you love them? I know a way that you can say it with just your hand, like this. This stands for I, this stands for love, and this stands for you. Put them all together, go like that, it says I love you. I suppose you could go like this, too. Big hug. Mm-hmm.
As a police photographer, I came upon scenes that were exactly the sort of thing that Hollywood would have liked to have shown, but obviously had to stop in time. And it was almost as though censorship or the Hays office had been canceled out completely, and I was allowed to see the follow-up, the all too brutalizing, all too grisly follow-up of these situations. I saw a slice of life that very few people see on a regular basis. I saw the effects of mayhem from spouse to spouse, children splattered by hit-run drivers, best friends killed, a rage, fit of anger, and I saw many what would otherwise be considered domestic situations become very undomestic. I saw people who had, in just one moment of wrong decision, put bullets through their brains. I saw people walking their dogs very tranquilly suddenly get an impulse to kill themselves. I saw people that had jumped off cliffs because it happened to be a holiday like Christmas or New Year's. The depression just got too great. And I realized that death is certainly not a flattering thing. And it made me aware that it is really the only equalizer
I have a painting that shows a little frog looking at all of these skulls in a field. And some of them have crowns, some of them have Indian war bonnets, some of them have high silk hats. And the name of the painting is, the title of the painting is Equality. And to me, that's the closest thing we can come to equality. And not attempting to be too philosophical, I will say that even in death, there is not equality, though, because some people make better looking corpses than others. Come forth from the pit, bestow the blessings of hell upon us, for we are your children, and we invoke thee this night. Brother Satan, I call forth this night all of your forces. We are superior, and we are superior not by ethnic means, but by the superior force of the will, the imagination, the creativity, and the very essence of resourcefulness and survival that is the heart and the very soul of the Satanist. Be with us tonight. Place us in a position of sovereignty that we might look down upon our inferiors and cast their kin into the morass of mediocrity where they belong.
Well, I'm very much into philosophy. A lot of different philosophers that I've read over the years, like Nietzsche, Darwin, Freud, Aleister Crowley, and finally Anton LaVey. And fortunately, he's still alive, so I got to meet with him and talk about his ideas and things like that. And in America, Satanism is sensationalized and kind of misunderstood, and people associate it with worshiping the devil and things like that. But it's really a philosophy about individuality and self-preservation. It's about being your own God. And that's a lot of the things that I've agreed with, so that's why I became friends with him. But by no means is that the only idea that I associate myself with, because I incorporate a lot of different philosophies into what I'm about, including Christianity. There's a lot of valuable lessons to be learned from the Bible. I just feel that the way a lot of people interpret it, particularly in the USA, is very hypocritical, and that's what I try and open people's mind to, that there is different ways of looking at things rather than what we've been told over the past several hundred years. It was more of an honorary title, sort of because of all the work that I've done in music, he felt had a positive effect on what he was trying to say, so it was kind of a reward of sorts. But it's more of a friendship, it's not a role that I'm, obligated to portray or anything.
Well, when I was a teenager, I was interested in the occult. And the occult in those days meant you got dream books and you got books on fortune telling and all that sort of thing. And the closest thing there was to anything about calling up spirits or demons and that sort of thing was a lot of gobbledygook where you stood around in a circle and you used the protective names of Jehovah and Jesus and all that. And I tried it. Oh, Lord knows I tried it, but it didn't work. And so I thought to myself, well, if I'm going to call up any demons, if I'm going to get any magical power, if I'm going to get anything going my way, I better get on the side of those guys instead of protecting myself from them.
I don't like humanists any more than Christians.
You don't like humanists either?
Humanists, you have to understand this once and for all. Christians must know Satanism is not humanism. Humanism is based on Christian ethics and ideas. It just doesn't have Christ. But it has the same appalling ideas about equality, love for everybody, indiscriminate love for all living things. And we oppose those ideas.
Altruism, humanitarianism,
Humanism and Christianity are in bed together. They're the same thing.
Well, the humanists might not appreciate that, but I hear where you're coming from.
Of course they wouldn't.
A white witch
and
or
as far as I'm concerned, there's Satanism and then there's other people.
Yeah, your father in the satanic rituals really puts out some zingers at the witches who want to be white witches. He says there really is no such thing. A witch is a witch is a witch.
That's right. Wouldn't you agree?
I agree. Now
Carla LaVey doesn't blame the crash on reckless driving. She says Brody had been cursed by her father, famed in Hollywood as the leader of the Church of Satan.
Things had just become worse and worse with Sam Brody. And at one point, he had come into my father's ritual chamber, and he touched various things that he had no business touching. And so after this had gone on for quite some time, my father said, well, this is it. You have a curse on you, and you're going to be dead within a year. So it was not a curse on Jane Mansfield. It was a curse on Sam Brody. And it was just very unfortunate that Jane Mansfield happened to be there at that time.
Jane was certainly an all-American star, and to this day, it seems as though she and Marilyn Monroe have never been replaced.
Sex goddesses of the past have been largely as a result of luck more than anything else. However, in the case of Jane Mansfield, she was an active member of the Church of Satan and certainly under tragic circumstances left the Church of Satan. In the situation concerning Miss Monroe, that was a long, long time ago, long before the Church of Satan. However, she did have an unswerving interest in the dark side of life.
Why is my father so much like Manson, and why is he considered so much like Hitler, and why is he considered so much like even Rasputin, who completely turned the Russia upside down? And now I'm beginning to realize that maybe there are two sides to every story, and maybe if you examine the other sides that you don't hear about, you learn something that is a little more illuminating.
I love life very much, And it's been said that I can't possibly love life, that I'm a very unhappy man, or must be a very unhappy man. And I would say that I'm a very happy man, an extremely happy man, in a compulsively unhappy world.
LaVey, the Church of Satan is dead. The death certificate says Anton LaVey died on Halloween, and perhaps that is fitting for a man who became one of San Francisco's special characters after he founded his own so-called satanic church. There were nudes on the altar, a pet lion, and a house painted black. Bob McKenzie has our report.
Inside the infamous Black Victorian this morning, Anton LaVey was not only present in spirit, but in wax, on loan from the Wax Museum, and also on the mantle, where his ashes reside in a jar next to one of his favorite skulls. The high priest of the Church of Satan died last week at the age of 67 of heart disease. Today, his daughter, Carla LaVey, and his longtime companion, Blanche Barton, told the press that Anton's church will go on.
He will always be our leader. He was our founder. He started this movement. No one will ever take his place.
The reason he founded the Church of Satan and wrote the Satanic Bible is because Satan is the ultimate rebel. He's the free thinker. He's will, defiant to the very end. And I think all of us have a little of Satan in us.
Carla LaVey will take over as high priestess of the group. Barton is busy raising the young child she had with LaVey. In 1966, LaVey, a sometime lion trainer, photographer, musician, and hypnotist, founded the Church of Satan in San Francisco. When he performed a satanic wedding in 1967, it hit the national press. For years afterward, LaVey was the darling of the media, always good for some copy on a slow day. He gathered adoring supporters with his goofily sinister trappings and his self-styled Satanist philosophy. That philosophy was an eccentric blend of 60s nonconformism, Ayn Rand-style individualism, and odd bits of witchcraft, dressed up with plenty of showmanship. Enemies who took him seriously called him evil. Enemies who didn't take him seriously called him a con man. His career peak came in 1968, when he played the devil in Rosemary's Baby.
No dream, this is really happening.
You described your childhood as a normal one?
It was actually very normal in a way. I thought it was, but what I didn't realize was that when I went to school and we reported on what our pets were, of course, mine was a pet tarantula, an alligator, and a lion. And most of the other children had maybe a cat, a dog, or a goldfish.
George Mikowski, a friend of the family, played one of LaVey's compositions, called A Hymn for the Devil.
He said in his epitaph something to the effect of, I only regret the times that I was too nice.
Whether Anton LaVey was an evil man or just a nice guy in a black outfit, he was at least a colorful character, and the city will be a little paler without him.
Satanists at the time of death, it's a great victory for them because death is a huge thing that they celebrate. And he was getting ready to die and pass on his powers and that. And on his deathbed, he must have got some revelation or an angelic appearance or something. And he went into shock and he said, oh my, oh my, what have I done? He said, there's something very wrong. There's something very wrong. There's something very wrong.
Wow.
But I can assure you, Satanism is here to stay.